So we've asked Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville to tell us who they would pick, given their first choice, if they were starting a team from scratch right now. Who, Jamie, would be your number one pick in world football?
Mbappe. I think he's very close to being the best player in the world. I think that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. So I certainly think he would be number one. His ability and pace and obviously his age as well.
Looking down your list, we see some real talent in Haaland, and then we get to number 5 and an older player. I think he's probably the only one in your selections who'd be over 30, almost 33, but still earns a place in your team, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean this draft is over 5 years, so that's the base of it. It's not an 11 or the best 11 players. It's the draft system over the next 5 years, and I just think if you look, a lot of my players, a lot of them are good age range to go on over the next 5 years and be the best players in the world. But I think Messi, yes, 33. I just think he's that good, and for years we've been saying maybe he's not the same or he's not running about everywhere. So he can still score goals, actually walking about the pitch. So I've got no problem picking Messi for the next couple of years and what he'll be doing the next 3 or 4 years. So he's the one I went for. Really, he was over 30. The rest are all under 30. And I still think he'll produce over certainly the next 2 or 3 years, definitely.
I would have expected Mbappe and Van Dijk, because I know how much of a fan you are of him, and I think we've spoken quite a bit about Haaland. But Raheem Sterling at number 4, you see him as the 4th most important player in world football, is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, I think right now, if you were buying him, you'd be buying for the future as well. I think the thing I love about Sterling is that if I was buying someone over a 5-year period, Raheem Sterling's never injured. His high intensity running, Gary just mentioned about things like that, is off the scale. I think it's probably the highest in there. And he's now getting lots of goals as well. So, yes, I always talk about him and Mane, and I probably just edge for Mane on the back of this season. But with Mane being in his late 20s and Raheem being, 23, 24, that's why I've gone for Raheem. And as I said, those reasons why I've put him in there. I think he's a brilliant player, and I think he's only going to get better in the future.
All right, let's have a look at Gary's list, and maybe a slight surprise that he's actually gone with more Liverpool players in that top 10 than Jamie Carragher did. I think 5 we've counted, Gary. A bit of a surprise.
Not really. I think if you look at Liverpool in the last 2 seasons, they've got to 2 Champions League finals. They're well clear at the top of the Premier League this season. The Premier League is the strongest league in Europe in this last 2 or 3 seasons. Tottenham and Liverpool getting to the Champions League final last year. Liverpool the year before. City is still in it this season. And, I think our league has had a real resurgence. And I think that's come from Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, Maurizio Pochettino, driving the standards up over the last few years. Jose Mourinho as well. I think we've had the best managers in the world here in the last few years, and I think that's driven us back to being very much at the top. And I think that the Liverpool team at the moment is the best in our league. It's the best in Europe. Obviously, last season, came so close the year before. So I don't think that's big a surprise.
Well, No. I mean, the only thing about it was we were told beforehand about it being over 5 years. So the reason he's gone for... Do you still think Mane and Salah will be at the level after that in 4 or 5 years?
Well, you obviously don't, do you?
No, I don't. I think top goal scorers or top attackers, I think once they get to 30, unless you're Messi or Ronaldo, who are just freaks and off the scale, I don't really... That's why I went for Haaland and Raheem Sterling, the younger players.
So would you sell Mane and Salah now then at the peak, just before they dip over the edge in the next year or so?
Oh no, I'd get as much out of them as I possibly can. Dominate at home and abroad as Liverpool are doing right now. And as you keep saying, with that money, that Standard Chartered Bank, you keep saying they're going to lend everyone money in the Premier League. They'll look after Liverpool. But no, the thing was about the next 5 years. So I don't think you've actually read the rules properly, actually, with the team that you've gone for.
Well, you've picked Messi. I just picked Mane and Salah. How much? 28, 29?
Messi is better than Mane and Salah.
Neither of you.
You can beat yours now, and in 3 or 4 years, your time, you wouldn't have a team.
Jamie, I'll be honest with you. I think if you looked at my 10 against your 10, I genuinely think my 10 would do yours.
Yeah, you're talking about a one-off
over a
game.
period of time.
You don't understand the draft, Gary. You've gone with Kante. He's 29 as well, 30.
Mm.
Neither of you go with Jadon Sancho. Why not?
To be honest with you, Dave, Jadon Sancho at this moment in time, in terms of we get carried away. I think we've got an amazing group of young English players, but we have to really look at the other players that exist in Brazilian players, Argentinian players, German players, Belgian players. We are not the only country in the world that's out as an England player and as an England coach that we have this golden generation. And you say golden generation, you think, yeah, it was, obviously Bex, Stevie, Frank, Wayne Rooney. But then Brazil had Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, and the Brazilian Ronaldo. What's that, platinum? It's, we're golden when you compare it to the. What I'm saying is, you call it a golden generation, but then you forget that these other countries have like world stars, and it's like, hang on a second, Argentina have got Aguero, they've got Higuain, they've got Messi, and you think, okay, Di Maria, how good are they compared to Jadon Sancho? Jadon Sancho's nowhere near these players. So let's be clear, Jadon Sancho is a talent, but we can't start putting him in the category of these world stars that are winning European Cups and World Cups regularly, season in, season out. And that's why I put Varane number 2 just ahead of Van Dijk, purely at this moment in time, because Varane's just won so many European Cups, World Cup. He's an amazing player, and I just edged it slightly. You can't separate them as talented, but just brilliant player, Varane.
No, I never went for
Sancho
Rashford because, I never went. I mean,
well, go on. Why Rashford and not Sancho?
Well, I think Rashford. Listen, I've seen him play more. I think Rashford is playing in one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think Dortmund's just a level below the real elite. They're not like a Bayern Munich, if you like. So I'm talking about the actual pressure of playing for one of those clubs. He's the next one, I think, who's going to get that big move to England, whether it's this summer or next summer. But I still think if the Euros was happening in the summer and England were going there, I don't think Jadon Sancho would probably just get in the team. And I think they're probably more likely that Rashford would be in that team. And the thing I love about Rashford is I think this season we've finally almost said, okay, he's almost going to be that left-sided attacker. He's talking about him being up front. I think he's found that role. He takes free kicks, penalties, lightning pace. He gets goals. And I think over the next, his age as well, I think over the next 4 to 5 years, as I mentioned with Raheem Sterling, I think they could go on to be, superstars for club and country.
I probably should have put Marcus Rashford in my 10 on reflection when I look at his. The only one I'd take out really to swap for mine would be Marcus Rashford, actually.
Who would you take out?
You're convinced on Mbappe?
No, but Mbappe's number 1, undoubted. You'd have to take.
What about
Mbappe.
Haaland?
No, I think it's still too early for me to say that he would be my draft pick out of all the best 10 players in the world. Would he be the best 10 players could take now? No. Potential, yeah, but not for me, the best 10 players in the world. I think the player I'd take out maybe might be Kante and put Rashford in, maybe, not sure.